Hi everyone, and welcome to another great video tutorial here on aetutsplus.com. My name is Scott Merriweather, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Today we are going to build a camera dolly. For those of you new to video, a camera dolly is like a small cart that moves on smooth tracks. You see this type of shot in movies all the time. Next, we'll go over the tools that you will need, a material list, how to assemble it, and show some example footage from our custom-made dolly. Here is a list of tools you might need to put this dolly together. Drill with 1/4 and 7/32 drill bits, wrenches, 7/16 and 1/2 inch or socket set, a circular saw or a hand saw, a hammer, a Phillips screwdriver, and a square. Materials you will need: 8 1.5 inch long bolts, 8 nuts, 16 washers for those bolts, 4 3-inch long lag screws, 4 washers for the lag screws, 4 4-inch long bolts, 8 washers for those long bolts, 4 nuts for the long bolts, 7 2-inch wood screws, 4 1.5 inch wood screws, 8 used rollerblade wheels with bearings and threaded spacers, 4 feet of angle iron with holes, 1 2x4 by 8 foot long piece of wood, 1 1x3 by 5 foot long piece of wood, 4 10-foot PVC pipes approximately 2 inches in radius, 2 1 3/4 galvanized pipe connectors, and 2 juice bottle caps. You will also need a camera and a sturdy tripod. Okay, let's get started. Take your 2x4 by 8 foot piece of wood and cut 3 pieces that measure 20 inches long, and then cut one more piece that is approximately 28 inches long from the remaining wood. Take your 1x3 by 5 foot piece of wood and cut one piece that measures 16 inches long and cut a second piece that measures approximately 3 feet long. Take one of the 20-inch 2x4s and notch out about an inch down and about 3 inches in from the edges on the top edge only on each corner, and do the same for the 28-inch 2x4. Next, take your drill with the 1/4 inch drill bit and put one hole in the center short width way of each notched area and make sure you drill down completely through the wood. Next, take the 7/32 drill bit and drill on the side of the wood about 3 inches from the end and about 1/2 inch down from the top. Do this for both corners of the notched 20-inch piece of wood. Measure the distance between the two holes you just drilled and transfer those measurements to the 28-inch piece of wood. Be sure to center these measurements in the entire length of the long piece of wood. Next, take the 2x4 that's 20 inches long with the notches you just put in and place a second 20-inch 2x4 perpendicular to it. Center it to the hole you just drilled on the side. Use a square to make sure you have a right angle here. Take the drill and drill into the end of the second 2x4 piece of wood. Do the same for the other side using the third 2x4. Take a lag screw, a washer, and use a wrench or a socket set and start turning the screw into the hole on the side of the wood. Make sure when you are putting this together that you have right angles at each corner and that all of the 4 notched areas are on the top side. Tighten just enough to make it snug. We will finish tightening them once we get all the lag screws in place. Once you have checked to make sure that all 4 corners are squared up, go ahead and tighten up the lag screws, the final tightening. You should have now a square shape with a slightly longer 2x4 on the one end with the notched areas on the top side. Next, take the angle iron and cut it into 2 pieces, one slightly longer than the other. One piece should be 20 inches long and the other 28 inches long. They should match the notched pieces of wood pretty close, but they don't have to be exact. When buying your materials, be sure to take a rollerblade wheel with a threaded spacer in it to make sure that the 1.5 inch bolts fit correctly. Next, take a 1.5 inch bolt, add a washer, and then place it into the last hole on the 20-inch angle iron. Take another washer and then the nut and tighten it as tight as you can. Take a roller blade wheel with a threaded spacer and screw it onto the bolt you just installed. Take a Phillips screwdriver or a hex wrench to tighten the wheel onto the bolt. On the other side, count 4 holes in from the end and install a second bolt with washers and a nut. Attach the wheel on the end of this bolt. Make sure the wheels are on the outside edge of the angle iron. I don't think they'll fit on the inside angle. When placing the wheels on the other end, make sure you mirror the wheels. In other words, the 2 wheels at the very ends of the angle iron are on one side and the other 2 wheels are closer together on the other side. Do the same bolts and wheels setup for the 28-inch long angle iron side. Next, we have to drill 2 holes in the corner of the angle iron, right in between the 2 wheels we just installed. When drilling these holes, make sure they match up with the holes we previously drilled in the 20-inch and 28-inch notched pieces of wood. If they don't line up, these bolts aren't going to go through. Flip the whole cart over, place the angle iron with the wheels underneath each corresponding piece of wood. Take the 4-inch bolt and put it through the angle iron and then through the wood. You may have to use a hammer to get it to go all the way through. It should come through at the other side, which you'll attach 2 washers and a nut to lock it and secure it in place. Take a wrench and a socket set and tighten this down. Continue to do this for the other 3 sides. Once all the lag nuts and bolts are secured, pick up your 1x3 pieces of wood and lay them on top of the 2x4s which have the roller blade wheels underneath them. Take your wood screws and secure the 1x3s on top of the corresponding lengths of wood. One thing that I added was 2 juice bottle caps. I flipped them over and used 2 short wood screws to secure it to the 1x3s I had screwed down earlier. This helps keep the tripod from sliding off the edge of the dolly cart. Next, take our 2 galvanized steel connectors, wrap duct tape around them. Once you have duct tape around 2 or 3 times, they should slide in quite snug into the PVC pipe ends. Push in the connector about halfway into one PVC pipe and then take another PVC pipe and slide onto into that. Place your dolly on top of the tracks, place your camera on top of your tripod, then place the tripod on top of the dolly. Now you are ready to have some smooth footage shot with your camera. Here's some example footage. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a wonderful day.